What's up, y'all? How you doing? Hopefully my voice will hold out. Been gone for a while because got the flu, and it'll debilitate you. If you can hear those little coughs in the background, that's my daughter. She also had it. Don't know who gave it to who, but we had it, and it really messed us up. Luckily, Sidra only caught the cold. At one point, she was hoping for the flu. Your job will make you want to do that. Okay, now let's get into what I want to talk about today, because this is very, I could say deep, but it'll be a little long-winded, and I do apologize for that, because I do want to make a point. And the overarching point is, it's time to be prepared. That's really it. And you might want to know what that preparedness means. It means to be prepared for the new way of life. And we're living at a transitional point. That's why this is going to take a while, because a lot of people just don't really understand. They don't get it. They don't understand what is happening with them and around them at this moment. So let me see if I can do this in a shortish amount of time. Okay, just bear with me, please. And timestamp it and comment where you need to. You know, I might have to make a follow-up video or something, or I might have to explain in the comment section, who knows. But I'm not going to get into every iota of detail, but I hopefully get into detail enough. Just enough. So, let's just break this out. Earth is where we live. At one point, the polar caps were tropical paradises. Where we are in the United States, predominantly there was a lot of water, swamplands, things like that. Where there was water, predominantly, there was land. I mean, for example, there was no East Coast, there was no Florida, there was no West Coast. So, Tejas and all of those, kind of waterlogged, things like that. Canada waterlogged. But North Pole, Antarctica, they were all right. Beautiful places to be. As time goes on, as animals of various types and stuff die through their own cesspools in tropical areas, they have illnesses, viruses, diseases, bacterium, things like that. This stuff gets trapped slowly over time as they die and mutations happen, as they die of their illness and new illnesses. These new illnesses, they spread to, eventually what became Homo sapiens. But during that time, there are a lot of illnesses that got locked away in the growing polar ice caps. And every new layer of ice in the Arctics, they got trapped. Every new layer was a new area of new diseases trapped. Don't know how bad they are or anything like that. That happens. That's just how it rolls. They're in the water, they're in the ice, they're in the air. And as the air comes down, it freezes, it forms new layers, and that's what we get. So, let's fast forward some. All right, so we've got Homo sapiens, dinosaurs are gone, Homo sapiens are here, and we decide to get into our industrial boom, our industrial revolution. We do well. Our plants kick up, lots of smog and smoke is just billowing out of our plants, out of our trains, ultimately automobiles. And when automobiles are not enough, it comes out of our computers, our phones, it comes out of the slowly nuclear waste, it comes out of lots of places. And it's not just that. No, diseases are also formed when you have slave ships and people have to sit in their own filth and deal with that. That means new things are born. Not only are things being bought from other lands that people on new lands, or different lands, don't have, but they're also mutating. And yet that will also ultimately, the body takes care of itself. Those with compromised immune systems die out, and those with strong immune systems, they happen to survive. And when it comes to reproduction, mother's breast milk and whatnot, it aids in building a powerful immune system for children. That's how we continue to thrive despite the worst things out there. Influenza, smallpox, anything like that. We ultimately make it. We usually do. We have to invent things like penicillin and other antibiotics. But there's a problem. We think we're better than everything. We think we're better than the virus. We think we're better than the bacterium. Our money, we want money. People in power that got the money want to keep the power, so they got to keep the money. Money is power. Power is money. Without either, you've got nothing. Therefore, you must do everything that you can to instill that the people see money as power and you as powerful. And just like any leader, especially an egotistical one, you definitely want to make sure that the people see you as awesome. And if you mess up, you know what's going to happen. They're going to start questioning you, your leadership, everything that you ever done or said, and they will start to dislike you. That happens. That's just human tribalism. It's what we do. We look for leaders. We look for people to follow, and we hope that they do the right thing for us as we worship them. So with our Industrial Revolution also comes, as you can guess, it comes with global warming. And there are lots of effects to that these big oil companies made sure to bury. They made sure that, hey, we're going to investigate ourselves and we're going to make sure that you believe what we say, and our impact on this planet has no impact on the ice or the water levels or anything. Everything is fine. So then they come up with other things to back that up, saying, well, there was a point where there was no ice there, so this is just natural. There are volcanoes that spew lots of sulfur and things into the air, and that's going to add to global warming. The thing is, the Earth has a way of regulating itself, and no one wanted to think about that. And volcanoes don't consistently erupt. Water pressure in the oceans, deep sea volcanoes, they erupt, it shoots up, falls down. Water pressure is too high. So much water pressure, and they cannot really form as the cone begins to form, and it just breaks due to the multitudes of quintuple tons of water that's breaking that dirt and stuff away. So ultimately, no one wants to believe that there is climate change despite evidence. There's been many snowstorms and whatnot in the 30s, 40s. It's been cold. I mean, if you want to take a small example of what's going on, you would look at the Dust Bowl. They farmed so much and did so much, and well, there was no crops to hold the dirt properly in place. There was no rain. The dirt was too loose. When winds come by, sweep that dirt up, and you got yourself a dust storm. Massive dust storm, and with no rain and all that dirt, people choke, they die. You know, any mechanics or anything that need operation of any kind, whether it was hand or otherwise, slowly started to not work. It was very hard times. It took a lot of things to get that to happen, and it's, well, truthfully, we're still coming out of it even today. When it comes to this climate change, what is happening is currently, I don't know if anyone has thought about this, but at one point, as I was saying, there was snowstorms and things. And what I'm trying to say is that those snowstorms into the teens, 30s, 60s, about the 70s, they slowly died off. I mean, there was snowstorms, blizzards, but then there were ice storms. That was roughly late 70s throughout the 80s. And then the 90s, they kind of tapered off. It went back to a mixture of snow and ice in the 90s. This is North Carolina. This is South Carolina. This is northern Florida, northern Georgia, areas like that in the Bible Belt. So, these things that happen, these storms, they are extremes. And people don't want to think about that. They just think it's just something that happens. And the religious people will put their faith and trust in God without putting any stock in critical thinking. And that's important because without help, if you got one side saying, we're not going to try, we're not going to listen, plug your ears, give it to God, it'll be what it is, you can't do the things to reverse the bad that's happening. And things could have been reversed. Not anymore. We're past that. That's done. Now we're experiencing in the past 10-15 years, winters that are hot. We have in December through most of January now, it's going to be on average 66 degrees. That's the average. And I say this because usually it's about 77. It gets up there between 55, 77 degrees. It fluctuates that way. Where here in the South, it used to stay a consistent 55 at the top. Get no higher than that. And it might dip into the 28. That's where it was. And then sometimes, jet stream dip real low. You get your teens and your zeros and stuff like that. That's how that would go. It doesn't work that way anymore. Now it'll stay warm through Halloween, stay warm through Thanksgiving, it'll stay warm through Christmas, New Year's. Roughly about halfway through January to the tail end of January, it starts to really cool off. And I mean like cold. To the point where in February now, I would like to say that in February it would be freezing, very cold, freezing area. But just a few days ago, there was a monsoon, torrential rains, lightning. It was high winds, staying that way. Sustained high winds, 19 gusting up to 30s and 40s in pocketed areas. I'm not used to it raining like this in the winter. I'm not used to tornado warnings in the winter. I'm not used to that stuff. Literally when it should be either a threat of snow, threat of ice, we got threat of tornadoes. If you don't understand that global warming is real and has happened, you got issues. I'm going to tell you that right now. Do I judge you as a good person or a bad person? No, I'm not going to do that. Because you just might be misinformed. You just might not know things. But it's different when you plug your ears. It's different when you do that. So, what's that lead to now? It leads to where we are. While sea levels have risen roughly an inch all around, there are areas in Florida, New York that will flood a lot easier. People still turn a blind eye. They want to think they're great. Recently in the Antarctic, that's south for those, there was a report that's reached temperatures of 66 degrees. 66 degrees. Now you want to go through a timeline of things that's already been messed up. Let's just go through it real quick. All these politicians want to say that there's no such thing as climate change. Why? Because if there is, there's going to be a revolution. People will say we need green energy, we need renewable energy, and the oil companies, those old money companies, they will go out of business because they aren't going to change. They're not going to do anything new, and they're definitely not going to hire new people because that just wastes money. The idea is to make money, not spend it. And if you do spend it, you must make sure you get a return on your investment. So if you're going to spend $100 million, you need to get back at least $10 million, if not billions. See, they're praised in their inner circles about how much you get back. So they have to spread the propaganda that there's no such thing. And they'll laugh and they'll say clean energy, clean coal. That's clean energy. They'll conflate those things. They'll throw snowballs in Congress and say, hey, was that global warming? They'll do whatever they can to make sure that you believe them over science. Money. They want their money. They don't want help for you. They don't want help for the country. They want money. That's the driving force. You want to make it day to day, and they want to make more money day to day. So who's being used at that moment? Think about that. That'd be a little separate though. So with this other trend, you had places breaking off. In the North Pole, that was the size of Rhode Island. Well, a small piece of it. And then you've got a piece that was broken off in Antarctica that was the size of Manhattan, if not a little bit larger. Ice breaks constantly. Normally because as it freezes and moves, the glaciers move and it breaks off, falls into the water, and it might stay frozen in where it stays, or it might drift out, further out and ultimately melt if it makes it to the Atlantic. Things like that. Some get to the Pacific, and other oceans that they are representative, that they can get to anyway. These things are happening. If you need fear mongering, just remember what I said earlier about the diseases, the viruses, bacterium, and things like that are trapped in ice. Ice is melting, folks. The ice is melting. And if you want an idea, just think about a prison full of habitual. I'm not talking about those who have because of maybe some anger or confusion or drunkenness. No, conscious people. They know what they're doing and they like it. So I'm talking about those who are habitual rapists, thieves, those that like murder because they might get a kick off of the way someone sounds, or begging off, or some crazy crap like that. They might like that. These are the habitual ones, the ones that gotta do it. Maybe they don't know why they gotta do it, but they just gotta do it. Imagine those in one prison. I mean, actually, the prison system actually worked, and it keeps those people away from society. Now imagine every 3 weeks the cell bars open by 1 inch. Every 3 weeks the cell doors open by 1 inch. They don't have the power to move these things. No. It just so happens that it's on a timer. Every 3 weeks those cell doors slide open just 1 extra inch. And you know about it. And these people live just 20 miles away from you. And there's only 2 roads that will lead to you or somewhere else. They got a 50-50 shot of where they're going to go. See, if you don't want them to come to you, oh God, don't let them come here. That means you're praying to your God that they go somewhere else and jack somebody up. You're not getting out of it. You're not. And they tell you, hey, there are ways to reverse these bars and put them back. But instead of doing it, you ignore it. You hope that somebody else do it for you. You hope. You sit there and you hope. You don't protest. You don't get online and say, hey, we need to do this. You don't put your money in the jobs that are actually doing good. You keep giving your money to the for-profit banks, which make money off the for-profit prisons, which find it better to scare you, so they slowly open these gates. You don't stop your money feeding the problem. You don't stop your belief feeding the problem. You don't stop your complacency feeding the problem. You just hope that somebody else does it. And when that happens and you're just too scared or ignorant or lazy mentally or physically to say, I need to stop giving attention to the bad and push for the good, those cell doors are going to open, just like those ice caps are going to melt. And they found in those cores that they didn't have to go too deep. Some just 20 feet, some 30, some 10, some just a foot below. They found new viruses, new diseases. Well, new to us, old to this earth, ancient. Things that we have no way of fighting, no way of destroying, because we don't know about it yet. And of course, they could definitely work with these and, get into labs and hope that, hey, maybe we can figure something out and some new pill. But that's where part of our complacency comes in, because we're not thinking about, let's just stop the ice from melting. We're thinking, let's find more miracle drugs to pump into our system to fight off the viruses that we're going to free, because we just don't want to change our way of life. We don't care about these cities going underwater because we don't believe they're going to go underwater. But when they do go underwater, even by 2 inches, by a foot, we'll try to find a way to drive around it. Maybe make higher elevated trains. Maybe take a plane. Maybe learn to zip line from building to building, because you got to go to work. That's what's going to happen. It's up to us to change what we have for the better, but that's not happening. Right now, it's forward moving. It's hot. There are storms in the winter. There are tornado outbreaks in the winter. In the United States, how do the seasons flow? It's always warm in California. But in the spring, in springtime, that's when the Bible Belt, that's when their tornado season is. And as summer hits, the Midwest tornado season break out, just as the hurricane season slowly begins. That's what happens. It's a rotation. And these things are not going to go away. They're not. So it's time to be prepared. It's time. Maybe cars need to become more aquatic now. Maybe we need to work on high-speed railing. Put your money into that. Find people who want to build it. Donate to them. Invest your money into things that's going to help. Instead of looking for the old money stock exchange stuff, try changing from the stock exchange to, a change for the better. There's no money in the need. There's only money in the greed. That's the truth. You need help, there's no money for it. Do it yourself. They got the money to take care of themselves. When you make it so that their money means nothing, that's when reality hits. These things can be done immediately, right now. Right now. You can put your money into a better banking. There's one down there below. You can check it out. tinyurl.com/crbanking. Really. TYT pushes forward. Aspiration.com/TYT. I'm asking for yours. It's the same online banking. Hook your bank account to it. You can transfer money. They don't charge anything. They'll tell you what companies are being fossil fuel, like anti-fossil fuel. They're energy renewable. They'll show you where to put your money in businesses that are going for living wages and things like that. There's steps to begin anew. I wouldn't make any money from you off of this. That's just it. I ain't trying to make money off of you for aspiration. I'm just aspiring for you to aspire better. Citigroup, Citibank, all this other stuff, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all these for-profit things. They'll hit you with fines. They'll hit you with everything. But your belief system is that you have to go there. Go to the SECU, SECU, what is it? State Employment Credit Union. I think that's what it's called. Go there. That's what you do. Hook it up there. Find other banks that's not all for profit like that. Hook up with them and and bank better. Kill the greed. You, the individual, you've got the power to do this. And I know you do. Because if you didn't, these companies wouldn't exist for you to be able to go to. All you got to do is just get up and do it. It's just simple typing stuff into the computer, make an account, link it to your bank account, transfer the money when you want, how you want. There are lots of ways to make money, but there's also just as many ways to help us all live better. We all take care of each other. Every choice that we all make, it either goes to for-profit or it goes to non-profit. It's going to go for making this world not so harsh or keeping it the same and making it worse. When it comes to talking about saving the planet, I'm going to tell you right now, that's the scariest thing. Why? Because they can't bring themselves to say what the truth is. We aren't trying to save the planet. The planet Earth will be all right. There is nothing we can do. We could set off every single nuke. We can set off every single bomb. We can throw out all the toxins that we want. The Earth will be fine. Venus is fine. Mars is fine. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Mercury, they're fine. They are planets. They orbit the sun. They rotate on their own axis, no matter how much they may or may not wobble. They have their own small little solar systems like Jupiter's moons. They're going to be fine. The Earth will be fine. No matter what happens, no matter how bad the air gets, it's going to be fine. It's us. That's what they're saying. They're too scared to say. We're not trying to save the planet. We're trying to save us. And I'm not talking about make the planet better for my daughter. I'm not talking about make the planet better for our children. I'm not talking about making the planet better for our grandchildren. That's weak. That's small potatoes and it's feckless. We need to make everything better for us right now. I don't give a damn if you're 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 110. It don't matter your age. Do the steps to make the planet better for you and us right now. Right now, you have the ability to simply click. You're at the computer, you're at the console, make the clicks, type the URLs, type the links, register. Make the changes that you need to make to help us all make the changes. The community is the planet, and I'm talking to all of you. All the human beings, all the Homo sapiens on this planet, we are in danger. Our complacency, our supremacy, our ignorance, everything is melting the ice, releasing ancient viruses, raising the water levels, going to slowly but steadily make cities uninhabitable for us, and we're not prepared for it. And we need to be prepared. That's what we have to do. I'm encouraging you to do it. I'm encouraging you to listen. Spread this. Share it. I don't know, just timestamp the pieces that you think are relevant and tell your friends to listen to it, your family to listen to it. But we've run out of time to reverse it. All we got time left now is to be prepared to handle how it's going to be. New viruses. And yes, this happens. You got chicken coops and stuff that are messed up and they form new viruses and stuff out of that. Pig farms and feces and things like that that are just terrible and unregulated. That'll form some new viruses for you as well. All these things are happening. And no, I didn't mention the coronavirus because I truly don't know if that was man-made, man-made by mishap, or was that something freed by these melting poles? It's here, and it's claiming the lives of those who are already immune suppressed. People conflate that with the flu, and it's not. But the flu can kill, and the flu will always mutate, always find a way to get stronger. We have to take care of each other. It's not about us versus them, because we are them and they are us. It's about human beings working together to survive on a planet that they've turned into a deadly weapon against anything that can breathe. That's where we are. And with that said, thank you for your time, your patience, and everything like that. I'm Cedric Kennedy for Comparative Reasoning. Thank you for listening.